Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm talking about how narcissistic parents are so good at using guilt to control you, even if you're an adult, even if you don't even live near them. That guilt that they plant inside of you can cause you to stop doing things that maybe you would like to do. It can cause you to make decisions that make the other person happy, but make you unhappy, or it can just simply steal your happiness and your peace inside. So, if you have family members that might be high on that scale of NPD and you feel like guilt is constantly being used in your life to control you, you're going to want to watch this video. For those that don't know me, my name is Michele. I'm a trauma-informed recovery coach. I'm also the founder of Thriver School of Transformation, which is a monthly membership where we meet live on Zoom every week and we do the inner work to heal from past trauma together. So I'll leave the link here if anyone wants to check that out. So let's understand a little bit about why they're able to use this guilt and why it is so powerful. And obviously, most importantly, what you can do so that you're no longer controlled by it. First, I just want to say that when it comes to that guilt and you're not fully understanding why it's there, it is so powerful that it's confusing to you, right? Sometimes you might be like, well, consciously, I know there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. Then why on earth is my body freaking out? Why on earth, when I'm going to do what I consciously and logically know is normal and okay and healthy, why do I feel so much dread, stress, anxiety, fear, all coming up in my body? It can almost make you feel like someone has a control of you. You're wanting to do something, but your body is like kicking on and it's like, oh no, you're not doing that. That's what it feels like, right? And that's what that has to do with is our subconscious programs. Our subconscious programs, you think of an on-off switch, like our subconscious programs kick on in certain situations. So for example, let's say I was in a really bad car accident and I have a belief now that I'm not safe in the car because maybe I didn't process that, right? While I'm not in the car, I'm not thinking about that. I'm living my life and I'm happy and I'm enjoying and I'm doing things. My body feels fine. I feel safe in my body until I go to get in a car, sit in a car, or drive a car. And all of a sudden, my body starts freaking out. Well, what happened? My nervous system noticed the similarity. It's like, oh, you're being in a car and we have this belief that that's dangerous. And so it kicks on without your conscious consent. That's what happens when we have subconscious beliefs. That's what happens when they're ingrained in our subconscious or stuck in our limbic network if it's a trauma memory. So that's what happens with our parents. Let's say you grew up in a narcissistic environment, right? Where you were controlled and you were made to feel bad about everything you did. You were made to feel shame for things that the narcissist didn't want you to do. And so that was a control method when you were a child. And now you're an adult. You might feel great as long as you're not doing anything that kicks on that shame. And this is the sad part of narcissistic parenting is that they're never parenting you to help you to be the best adult you can be. That's never their motive, which is really, really sad. Their motive is, I want to teach you to do and be the best thing for me, whatever makes me shine, whatever I can use for myself to feel good about myself. So it's never really about you. So a lot of the things they teach are just so damaging to a person. For example, if in childhood you were happy, you were a really happy person, and that made the narcissist feel their own unhappiness, they then did everything to try to stamp that happiness out. So now you have a belief, if I'm happy, I'm bad. Or if I'm happy, mom or dad gets mad. And if mom or dad gets mad, that means I'm bad. And if I'm bad, that means I'm going to get rejected and abandoned, right? Because a narcissist will punish a child for doing what they don't want them to do with emotional rejection. So now the child's like, okay, if I'm bad, then I'm emotionally abandoned. If I'm abandoned, who's going to take care of me? My survival's on the line. I'm not safe. Now, obviously, consciously, a child isn't thinking that, but their nervous system is. And so you get all of these beliefs. And just like getting in the car was what turned on that belief that I talked about before, that I'm not safe, just seeing your narcissistic family member angry turns on all of those beliefs that I just mentioned. And when those beliefs become active in the body, your body will flood you with stress hormones, with adrenaline, with cortisol, and it will make you uncomfortable anytime you're doing anything that makes your parent upset. And so this is the part that gets confusing, because as an adult, you're really not thinking that consciously. You're not saying, oh, mom's angry. That means I'm bad. That means I'm going to be abandoned. That means I'm not safe. No, you're just like, you feel the intensity of the emotion of shame, of fear, of abandonment, of rejection that they put in you. And your body wants to do anything and everything to not have you feel that, including do whatever the parent says so you don't have to feel that. And this can go on for decades. I've had clients that are in their 40s, in their 50s, that are only now learning how to not be controlled by these beliefs. And by the way, the narcissistic parent isn't even in their life at the moment. It's the programs that they put in that person that are still active. And so narcissistic abuse is not just about detoxing from toxic people. I mean, that's great to not be around and be surrounded by people that are hurting you. Obviously, that's important, but they can be gone. And if the subconscious programs are alive and active in you, that's what's going to keep on kicking on. So I want to give you a small tip for anyone that's suffering from this right now that can hopefully start to help you to work through this and break free of programs that are outdated. You're not that 5-year-old that has to fear abandonment anymore from your parent, because you're an adult. It will always hurt if somebody abandons you. It will always hurt if you feel rejection, but it's not the same thing. It's just that your nervous system hasn't been updated. So the first thing that I'd like to encourage you to do, if you're feeling like you're being controlled by guilt, okay, and you kind of have to, if you can write it out, this will be helpful. But if you don't want to write it out and you can do it in your mind, that's fine too. But the first thing is to uncover the story that's in your body, because you have a story in your conscious mind. Your story is, I really want to do this, and there's nothing wrong with this. And why am I feeling like such a horrible person? Why am I being stuck, not being able to do what I want to do? All that's in your conscious mind, right? That's your story. And sometimes the tendency is to try to force ourselves forward, but it doesn't work. We really want to uncover the story that's in the nervous system. So a couple questions to help you to start doing that. When you notice yourself feeling guilty, first of all, first thing you want to ask yourself is, what are the emotions that are coming up with that guilt? Okay. So obviously it's guilt, but is it fear tied with it? Is it shame tied with it? Just start being curious about what the emotions are that are coming up. And you want to really start being able to uncover the belief that your narcissistic parent is turning on in you. So the way to do that is you have to find out the meaning that your nervous system is giving it. And you can't find that meaning until you get to that. This means I am. Okay, so in other words, let's say I want to do something that I love. And maybe I was always made to feel like anything I do that's for me makes me selfish. And so therefore I feel guilty, right? So the first thing is to ask myself, what is the feeling? What feelings are tied up with that? Well, I'm feeling guilt. And again, we want to get to the meaning. Why am I feeling guilty? Because if I do this, that means I am what? Well, that means I am doing something that my parent doesn't want me to do. Okay, that's still not the belief. That's still the external. So we continue asking ourselves the question. So if I do something that my parent doesn't want me to do, that means I am what? That means I am not listening. And that means they're going to get angry. So again, it's something external. It's still not the belief. So I have to ask myself again. And if they get angry, what does that mean about me? If they get angry, that means I am selfish. And if I'm being selfish and I'm thinking of myself for a moment, what does that mean? Oh, that means I am bad. So peeling back the layers consciously, we get to the fact that the nervous system says doing this thing you love means equals you are bad. Now, consciously, that makes no sense. But until we put it in front of our mind, we can't choose to upgrade it. The next thing you want to do is normalize why your brain is making these two things mean the same thing. And it can sound like, well, I understand why I'm thinking that doing this means I'm bad, because when I was a kid, every time I did something I liked, I was shamed for it. I was made to feel like I was bad. So that's what's happening. My nervous system is remembering what that feels like, and it's trying to keep me safe. Now that you know that and you've normalized it, the third step is to give your brain a choice. Okay, even though my brain is saying means I'm bad, if I could choose, do I agree with that? And if not, how do I want to see this? And then you'll get an option like, oh, I want to see that it's normal to do things in life that you love. It's okay to to chase your dreams. It's okay to make a decision that somebody else may not agree with. And now you have a choice. And the more you choose to live your life in harmony with what you want to do, how you want to see things, the more you are upgrading your belief that you're allowed to be you and you're safe to be you. And if the narcissistic parent is angry and upset, you have to remember to give yourself permission to let them be upset. In childhood, you were probably made to feel like it's your responsibility. Your life became about, I can't do anything to make mom or dad upset. Well, that's not living. That's being an emotional regulator for an adult that should emotionally regulate themselves. So it's a lot about discovering what's in your subconscious programs and upgrading them. I hope these tips help. If you still struggle to do this and you're still struggling on how to be able to break free of the beliefs that narcissistic parents put into you, make sure you check out the Ivy School of Transformation, because that's what we do weekly. We work through the side effects, we work through the coping skills, we work through the subconscious beliefs to rewire our brain to have the neural pathways that let us be our best and authentic self, even if that means a narcissistic parent is unhappy.